Getting ready to go live. And there, we're live from Long Island, New York. I'm Ryder Neil Williams. Hello, Agnieszka. How are you doing? Nobody calls you that, right?
No, no one calls me that anymore. No, no, no. Not even my close family in Poland right now.
Not,
They stopped. Yes,
yeah, they
but
cut it out,
I'm
right?
well. I'm well. Thank you for
All right, all
asking.
right.
I'm well.
Had an
Been a long
interesting
time.
week. Had an interesting
Uh,
week, I assume.
yes, yes. I had a very nice week, and I should say thank you to Dr. Jason Dini, Stephen Jason
Okay,
Dini, for
okay,
doing wonderful operation on my left foot. I'm
okay,
doing
okay.
wonderful. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Where is he? Where is he exactly?
I see him in Smithtown, and
Okay.
I have to tell you, he's a wonderful podiatrist. Oh my God. I mean, I was afraid of pain and everything. In the very first 2 days, no pain at all. And on the third day, I took Tylenol. I mean, who does that?
That was
He,
it, right? Right. He
yeah,
gave you a prescription for the other stuff,
he
but
did, but I didn't need it.
we didn't need it. Wow,
Didn't need it. No.
very nice, very nice. So he must have done really, really clean incisions and
Yes.
took
Yes.
care of everything.
Yes. Yes.
We wonder sometimes about that whole foot thing. Like that's one of the places that you have to take care of. You got to take care of your teeth because you can't eat without teeth, right? And you got to take care of your feet because you can't go anywhere if you can't walk. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's great. All right, so Doc, thank you very much for taking care of my Agnes. It's good. It's good.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Dini. Yes, he's wonderful. Seriously. It's like being in a good hands. That's a great, and the staff that I went to, oh my gosh, all the girls and the assistant doctors, such a wonderful team, such a wonderful team. So in three
Excellent.
months I'm going back with my other foot. So
Doing an ad for him. That's great. That's great. Ladies and gentlemen, our episode today is about
yes.
why do we need bookkeepers, which is what my girl Agnes Amasano actually is over at Tax Resolutions and Bookkeeping, aka nytaxresolutions.com. We're going to be talking about why you need a bookkeeper, whether you're a big company, a small company, and how you can actually get one. We'll be right back after this.
Or we might not.
Yeah, that's not. I don't know what happened to it. Our little beginning of the show that didn't go. All right, it's fine. It's fine. We're live, and sometimes these things happen when
Things
you're live. And
happen.
the great thing is that we roll with the punches. Someone was telling me that the other day. Someone said, you're really good at handling situations as they actually. Someone was driving by and just beeping the horn while I was at a farmer's market because they see me with the stick and they're like, "Oh my gosh, I know that guy!" And they start honking the horn. I was like, "Thanks, thank you." And
I love, yes.
yeah, yeah, all right. I mean, nobody can see you. Nobody can see you. I'm pointing the thing at me. You're out there on the street. It's so funny,
Yeah.
but it's good. It's good. So, ladies and gentlemen, today we're going to be talking about why do we need a bookkeeper? Why do we need bookkeepers? And it is going to come directly from, oh, I'm so sorry, Agnes, the horse's mouth. She's going to explain to us exactly why. Why you need a bookkeeper in your life and the difference between like a bookkeeper and an accountant and the IRS man, because that's a whole other person that you're looking out for as well. All right. So first of all, how did you get into this? Let's talk about you in particular. How did you get into becoming a tax resolution specialist and bookkeeper?
My ex-husband.
Okay. How'd that happen? Ex-husbands get us all into trouble. All the exes always get us into trouble, regardless. All right.
Well, he was in such a financial mess. I mean, he was
Okay.
in such a financial mess.
Oh, really? This
His
started out
business.
of you having to do it from home? Really?
Actually, I started working for him, and and that's how I got into it. I really, I study accounting and everything, but I found that extremely boring, and I didn't want to do it for a living. And I fell into it that way just because he did trusted me over
Right.
anybody else,
Okay.
and just the fact that I was able to organize everything, so organizational skills, that's number one.
Yes.
Knowing, what to do with it and how to address step by step, and that was very helpful, and I untangle everything that he was tangled in. So
Okay. Was it a lot? Was it a very? It was a lot of stuff, or was it a relatively easy fix because it was one of your earliest? But I mean, he.
well, at the very beginning it was scary, my knees were shaking,
Mhm.
but I like challenges in life, so that's how I got to it. And believe it or not, I straightened everything out, and that's how I start. Actually, he was my first client for offers in compromise as well.
All right. So you said offers and compromise. Why is that? See, some people may not get it. Why is it funny that it's an offer and compromise, and that was one of the first things that you did for him?
That means he owned so much money. He was
Hmm.
so much in debt to
Hmm.
IRS and the state
Hmm.
that by filing offer in compromise, which is the applications asking to settle on a penny of it, on a dollar,
Okay.
to help a taxpayer to come out from the very difficult situation, financial situation, so they can move on with their life and have a fresh start.
Right. Right. Without that, they would be indebted to the government for many, 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 many years. Right.
Well, either that or a bankruptcy, and a bankruptcy does not clear you for the last 3 years of your tax returns. So IRS still can go after you for the last 3 years. They will clear up prior years, but not the last 3 years. So it's a very important how you deal with your payments, because God forbid IRS not going to accept your offer in compromise, and you have a payment plan, and then you're going for bankruptcy because of other debts that you have in your life. It's always good to apply your payments while you're waiting for an answer. The IRS gives you a choice how you want to apply those payments. So it will be smarter to apply to the last 3 years, because this way you're dealing with less at the end, if you do decided to file for bankruptcy.
Okay. Okay. Good. All right.
Um, yeah, but it's a lot to do. Oh, and also, if you file offering compromise, you have to make sure you have to be very good boy or girl for the next 5 years. File everything on time, pay everything on time. Otherwise, they can take it back.
Oh, they take it right back, and then you're back. You're
Then
back at square one and have to do
yes,
exactly what they told you.
yes.
Oh wow, they take
So
away the field.
there are certain conditions that you have to keep up with. It's not like, okay, we just take $5, you own for $5 million, we take $5 and go on with your life. No, you have to show proof that you are, you know what you did, acknowledge that you did wrong, and move on with the right foot forward.
Wow, wow.
Stay on the right track. Yeah.
My next question was going to be illustrate the concept using a practical scenario, and I think you've already answered that question. So we're gonna move on. All right. So look at it like this: you're a small business owner, say in the town of Babylon or in the town of Islip, and you're juggling all these multiple roles. How can bringing in a professional bookkeeper change that dynamic, especially when dealing with tax related issues?
I'll give you a scenario.
Mhm.
My one of my jobs, I walked in Manhattan. I walked into the office. The
Mhm.
first 2 weeks, there was answering phone calls, asking vendors to give me more time to pay them, because every single phone call for me was a debt collector for the business. And I didn't know, I cannot tell person that I'm going to pay or not to pay. I didn't know what the situation. So could you please give me 2 weeks? Give me 2 weeks. I'm new. I need 2 weeks. So the first 2 weeks, walking into quite large company,
Mhm.
I had my hands full because as a bookkeeper, first you have to see what you are dealing with, what you are doing, which
Okay.
was okay, debt collectors, therefore they didn't pay it, right? Where the money are going.
Right.
Um, are those bills correct? Maybe they're double bills. Maybe there is some overpayment. Maybe there are some credits that people don't know about. So, there's a lot of organizational skills involved. So now you have to reconcile the accounts.
Yeah.
They had an accountant who was extremely well advanced in his age, and they were charging them $1,000 a month. That's 20 years ago, to 25 years ago, $1,000 a month just for coming in and reconciling six accounts. That was a lot of money. So I started doing that myself to be more up to date of what exactly was done, what was paid, what was not paid. Then you have tax payments that they were posted, but they were not paid. They were
Okay.
not credited. So you're looking at the book, so everything was paid. Meanwhile, there was nothing paid. So
Mm.
I had my hands full. So why do you need a bookkeeper? To clean up the mess. There's so many things when you have a lot of people involved in running business. Plus, there are see, big bosses, they don't want to deal with the little stuff. They
No.
just do it. They drop invoices on your desk, pay this, don't pay that. Why you paying this? You have to have a list on the top of lists to see what is done and what needs to be done.
Right.
So after 2 weeks, I was able to address, after working 12 hours a day, I was able to address the issues. Okay, well, you want this, I can give you for now, I can make a payment, start making payments arrangements because you cannot drain the business out of all the cash flow to
Right.
send all the bills. It doesn't happen that way.
Mm. No.
Meanwhile, you're buying yourself a little bit more time
Yeah.
to see what is done correctly, what is not, what it's really due, and then you're finding out the same invoice under this different invoice number
Yeah.
because there is an invoice for original product and there is another invoice for the same thing with the late fees. Then
Yes.
yes, so then you overpaying, right?
Yeah. Yes. Or not. Sometimes not the late fees. Sometimes it's the second month added to the first month. So now
Yes,
you're getting 2 months. If you pay both of those invoices, now you have double paid the first invoice.
that's
From an accounting perspective, I gotta tell you, this is the nightmare that
yeah.
we live. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or the check was sent out later and if something crossed in the mail, then they're sending you an invoice. No, you didn't pay it. Meanwhile, after you reconcile the accounts, then you see, oh no, it was paid. So then there is such thing as renegotiating that maybe those late fees or certain things can be removed. You have to have enough guts to stand up for your client and say, listen, they've been with you for so many years. Why don't you do that for them? Certain services don't exactly need to collect those late fees. That's not necessary.
Right.
Then also, I was brave enough to ask to renegotiate certain prices because I was new at that point. So I was like, you know what? Why are
Double
you
the job.
charging? Yeah, court reporter charging $8.25 per page. Well, you've been with them for so long. You want to hold on to the business. Why don't we lower that price at least to see how it's going to go for a few months. So
Right. Right.
cutting cost, it's always effective and it scores you points with your boss.
Yeah,
you know
absolutely, absolutely. So
so
those are, so I heard you say I was going to ask you about red flags, right? Basically,
yeah.
what are the things that you see? You're looking at the books and you right away know, okay, we've got a problem here. What are the ones, the most common ones that you like right away scream, we're going to have a problem with taxes at the end of this quarter?
Mainly that when everything was marked as paid and it was not paid,
Was not paid.
that there were invoices posted. Okay, oh, this is the bill. Okay, just for reconciliation purposes because someone didn't know what they were doing. Boom, that this was done, and then there's a problem, and then I'm looking at the accounts, and they are being overdrawn $40,000 at the end of the month because it's like, why are we on a red? If
Yeah,
this is paid or it wasn't paid, so why this is marked paid? That's confusing. And at
yeah,
the end, you filing your 941s, which is the form for the quarterly taxes. And then you will tell IRS, oh no, that was paid because the books will say this paid. But when you look into deeply, it's like, oh no, I actually own the money. So, things like that, little things like that.
right. That would be a problem. I worked at
Yes.
a law firm once, and after I had left there, found out that one of the persons who was doing the bookkeeping, huh, he was a manager. He was an assistant manager, and he was very like, I'm the only one who reconciles these particular types of if expenses. Okay, I reconcile. And it turned out later on, many years later, they found out that he would receive them and pad them, add additional money to the expenses, and then pay out the actual expense to whichever firm or whichever attorney had expensed them. And then the additional that he'd
Mhm.
padded, he was sending to himself. And he did it year after year for maybe 8 or 9 years. How do you see something like that?
Well, it is a criminal behavior, so we all
Yeah,
know that.
I'm just
You
saying.
know.
So how do you find something like that before it actually happens?
Well, you audit things. See, the place where I told you that I went in the first 2 weeks was just phone calls. So, a few months into my job, I started doing every month internal audits. So, thanks to that, I was able to point out to the bosses that you're spending way too much money on certain things. I appreciate the fact that people were having, like, the attorneys were having a wonderful cars, Mercedes this, Mercedes that, to drive for work, and they had insurance paid and everything else, but they were also using that for everyday thing for themselves. So I started cutting those costs down because it was not effective.
Right.
Kind of lost popularity contest at the office.
Yeah. Sorry, nobody's gonna like that.
No, or the best phones and all that, to employees being granted. So I cut down on a lot of costs because that was either keeping business alive or keeping people happy. So either you want to have a job, I put them in a situation that either you're going to have people working for you, have a job, or you have no business. Like,
Yeah.
what are you choosing here?
Yes.
Do you want to stay afloat or not?
Yeah. Make
So,
it, yes. Yeah.
yeah,
Making a big
sometimes in this business you have to really um make sometimes very difficult decisions, but your bookkeepers also needed to keep you um up to date with certain laws, to know how much you can reimburse people, how much you don't, to have all the business activity statements given to your boss. Like, I start doing that monthly to
right.
all of them, to make them aware of what exactly is going on, and certain things they have to change because you need to be up to the code with this or up to the code with that. You have to keep up with those informations.
Right.
And if you sign up, like, I'm a member of PTIN, so they give you, this organization send you every month updates, so you can keep up with what is the proper law for, what is the update, so you can continue doing the business proper way.
Tell
It,
tell everybody what PTIN is because they don't know.
PTIN, let me see. I have this somewhere. That's a professional. This organization is for tax
Yeah.
preparers.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a professional
Yeah,
tax preparers of national. It's a
yeah,
national. Basically, the national thing that says yes,
yes.
this person is a tax preparer here. So yeah. So that is one way. Definitely make sure. But then, what is if you're doing all of that? what is the accountant coming in and doing? And I actually know the answer, but I gotta ask you, what is the accountant doing if the bookkeeper is doing all of that?
Well, the bookkeeper is just making his life easier because this way, at the end, let's face it, accountants have 10,000 different clients. So
Yes.
when they're asking you for this for all the reports, you are the one as a bookkeeper to prepare all the reports, have everything up to date, have a profit and loss, having balance sheet ready, given at the end, and all the reconciliations, make sure that everything is matching with the balance sheet. You
Right.
giving to your accountant, and the accountant does the taxes. So, you
Right.
know,
Right. So technically, the bookkeeper makes sure that the numbers are done right, that they're
yes,
set up, and at the end, they give them over to the accountant. So the accountant like double checks and makes sure that everything is okay before they actually do the
that's
filing or
good.
whatever
Yeah,
it is, so you're not getting in any trouble.
yeah,
All right. So that the bookkeeper is the it's like you're almost like the nurses of the whole thing because nurses,
yeah,
honestly, nurses are in the hospital. Nurses are the ones who actually are taking care of you. The doctor
yeah.
comes in, he's like, "Oh, let me take it," and just moves away. But the truth is, most of the time, it's the nurse making sure that you're okay and making sure that
Absolutely.
you're taken
Well,
care of.
let's face it, identifying irregularities in the reports in everything, that's up to a bookkeeper to catch it because for an
Right.
accountant, if any client wants to get an accountant for an audit, that costs thousands of dollars. It
Mhm.
puts them like really on a freeze for a couple of months to find out what's going on. No one really wants that. But if you have a bookkeeper who is always there and is managing day to day all the entry, all the data, so the transactions, all the banking activities, it's easier for the person like that to catch whatever it's wrong.
Yeah.
Whatever there's any corrections needs to be done, and like I said, just to keep up with proper regularities to laws. You can do this, you cannot do that. If you have 401k, you have to send that money to the proper place. You cannot
Yeah.
just sit on it.
Yeah. or or pay people money and then be like, we gave you a lot of money. Can you give some of it back? That literally has happened here recently. A local plumber on Long Island paid these people this money and then started harassing them to give it some of it back because I guess they needed it for whatever reason, but it didn't matter. Those people were owed that money. So they were supposed to be. So there's a whole thing about how much money did you actually spend? What was going on? Yeah, I'm assuming that from a bookkeeper standpoint, you would also be the one who raises the alarm if you are constantly spending more than you are bringing in, right? You would bring that to a business's attention. Okay, right. So that's very, very important. Very, very important. So,
It's very helpful to the CFO of the company as well that I start bringing. That's why I start. Maybe my role exceeds a bit just as a bookkeeper because I stick my nose to everything. It's like, okay, well, you know what? You're spending way too much money. You're going to be out of business if you're not going to start doing this, or that.
right,
I get like all those years ago, I had to make cuts on a lot of fronts because and renegotiate prices because it's easy when you are in a relationship with some business for so long. You have the loyalty, you have everything. You go on because you're happy with their services and everything. But sometimes you cannot be afraid to reach out to somebody else who was going to give you a little bit better price and the
yes,
same care and attention.
for
This is
better
all
service.
business. Yes.
Absolutely, absolutely necessary. Actually, I was going to ask you about this other thing that we talk about on your website sometimes. By the way, our website is nytaxresolutions.com. If you're looking for a bookkeeper, that is where you would go. But the thing that I wanted to talk to you, uh, uh, ask you about is your no judgment zone. What exactly do you mean by no judgment zone? Because I hear you talking about not necessarily being popular because you bring a lot of truth to people that sometimes they don't want to hear. explain what the no judgment zone basically is.
All right, when someone comes to me with the tax problem, I'm not going to sit down and say, "Oh, how could you do this? Why did you do that? Oh my God, who does that?" I'm not their mother.
Good, good.
I'm not their mother.
You're not
Okay,
at all.
we have a problem. I'm always, this is my approach to life. I have a problem. First, I'm looking for solution.
Yeah.
When a solution is at hand, when I fix the problem, then I sit down and I start thinking for myself personally. Okay, how did I get there? What did I do to get there? I made a mistake. Okay, so I have to act a certain way not to find myself in this situation. But with my clients, what I'm doing, that's what I keep talking about, holding their hand for a bit, because for the next 5 years, they have to stay on a good path. So I will give them information and tools to stay on a good path. Not saying don't do this again. I was like, no, you have to do this and you have to do that if you don't
Right.
want to find yourself in the situation. But I'm
Mhm.
not scolding, I'm not lecturing, I'm not shaming anybody, because like I always keep saying, no one grows up saying, oh, when I grow up I want to be this bad taxpayer. Things happen in life.
Yeah.
Things happen in life. Divorces happened, which they are really screwing people up big time. um you know
There's a
the,
there's a there's a bank there's a bank advertisement that I see all the time now, and it's like every overdraft has a story, and they're basically explaining why people overdraw their accounts, and the fact that it's just something that happens because it's life and it is what it is. And the fact of the matter is, a lot of us don't have as much money as we used to have because the economy is a different one from what it used to be. But yeah, you're not doing it because you want to be upset with people. You're doing it because you want to make sure that they stay out of trouble, right?
life happens.
Yeah.
Life happens, and different situations in life, they are happened for a reason, for a season, for whatever that is. But we need to deal with that. Just like each of us, most likely, is like, oh, I don't want to have bills, I'm going to pay it off every month. They will come back every month. You have to deal with them.
Yeah.
Not over budgeting, it's one big thing.
Yeah.
With business, especially new business owners, to have a place, to have a big sign, to have employees, and everything is costing a lot of money. Like, this is fantastic that you want to show that, hey, I exist, I'm here, everything is fantastic, but it's not necessary at the beginning. You have to have someone who will guide you to do this very slowly. It's
Right.
not important to have a big storefront office or a big suite and, hey, this is me. First, have clients, start making that income, bringing people in, and then slowly you can expand if that is necessary, not just for show.
Yeah. A
Simple as
client
that.
a client of mine was explaining how much he had to spend every month between um, uh, uh, workers' compensation, insurance, all the stuff he has to spend. He's like, we have to have a certain amount of money coming in, or else we're going to be in trouble. There are a lot of expenses when you are running a business. And if you are not keeping up on top of your books, it is very, very soon that you're going to run out that line of credit, or you'll be, spending all that money on a credit card, and then you're in trouble, right? That's the that's just the normal way things go. So, um, for businesses that are reluctant to hire a bookkeeper, what are the maybe one, two, three things that you would tell them? This is the reason why you need to have one.
Well, you need to have some kind of order with your finances. A bookkeeper can help you keep that order. Can you might miss certain payments, you may need certain invoices. Uh, producing financial reports. It's very important for every business owner to see where they are, what they're doing, how their money are being spent, if they go in the right direction,
Okay.
and keeping up with all the regulations. That's very, very important. Some business owners think that because, oh, my family works for me, they're not my employees. You're wrong. This is your employee.
Yeah.
So, and lack of workers' compensation and insurance, the penalties are just tremendous. So, yeah, so it's a lot of things that business owners do not realize when they open the business. They will have knowledge of the business, of the craft,
Yes.
but
How to do the work.
yes, but everything else behind it, it's another story. Now,
Exactly.
as a new business, you do not need to hire a bookkeeper full time to be there 24/7 and help you. You can have just someone coming once a week. You can have someone coming once a month. You can have virtual bookkeeping services. You don't need someone on the premises. So there's a lot of different ways that can be helped, that help can be given to the business owners.
Would you say that because of the rise of technology and automation, that it might even have reduced the cost of bookkeeping for many smaller
Absolutely.
businesses? Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That it's extremely helpful because instead, let's say, if there is a bookkeeper without an experience, much experience, you hiring full time, you're paying her payroll taxes, you have to provide benefits, and let's say you're paying I don't know, 55, $60,000 a year,
Mhm.
where you can do this just hourly, having someone from outside, having virtual bookkeeper, or someone just coming once a month or once a week, depending how big is your business.
Right.
How, so it's a big difference having
Yeah.
someone on hourly basis.
On
uh,
staff.
you, you pay
Yeah.
for, yeah, you pay someone 10 or 12 hours, or maybe 8 hours a month,
Mhm.
instead having someone on your books and paying payroll and benefits and being responsible. So there's a lot of different ways to deal with that, depending what your needs are, what that particular client's needs are, what kind of business there is.
And now they can call you for both, right? You will actually give them a price based on maybe an hourly or a block or a monthly. How do you do your
Absolutely. Well,
services?
it's depending. First, I will evaluate. I cannot just throw price at you without knowing what is it. So there's a free evaluation,
Okay.
free consultation. Let's
Okay.
sit down, let's talk. How can I help you? What are your needs? And then we go from there.
Excellent. Excellent. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is why you need a bookkeeper. It seems to me that just having one will make you to keep you out of trouble. They'll have those red flags be monitored by one. And the good thing is, yet if you are running a business and actually making money, running a real business, it sounds like it's something that you should be investing in so that you do not get in trouble down the line. Right, Agnes? That makes sense what I'm just saying?
Absolutely.
Okay,
Absolutely.
great. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you're looking for a bookkeeper to do either an hourly setup or whatever, you want to check in and see how Agnes does it at nytexresolutions.com and speak with her and figure out what exactly you would need. But also, if you are loving love, death, and taxes, you want to send us a little mail, you can do that at mailbag@lovedeathandtaxes.com. Agnes, I'll see you next week. What are we doing? We should do something fun next week. Let's find a guest to come on here, huh? Oh, let's do that.
Absolutely. Working on it. Working on it.
Yeah, right, right. All right.
I'm waiting for an answer from a very, very interesting person. So,
Nice, nice.
yeah.
I am doing the same. I'm doing the same. So we may have to schedule them out, but we'll work it
Yes.
out. Right. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very much. Agnes, as always, thank you very much. Did I do it on the
Thank
right
you,
side?
Ryan.
Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. I got the right side again. Yeah, thank you. All right. Yeah, have a good evening. Everybody, enjoy your Father's Day weekend, ladies and
Yes.
gentlemen.
Happy Father's Day, Ryan.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, guys, take care. All right.
Okay. Bye.